Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the May 19th meeting of the Clayton City Council. May I have a roll call to determine a quorum?
Jeff's here.
Janet?
Oh,
yes,
I thought you were asking.
Laura's still getting on. I was just on the other line with her. So
Okay.
I'd say go ahead and you can start.
All right. I will just note for the record that all of us are present, and I would ask our Councilmember Diaz to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I'm ready.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Jim. I think just for the record, for those of us doing that, we need to let Jim say it and the rest of us be quiet. Otherwise,
let's start over. Start the meeting over.
No, we're not going to do that. We're just all learning at the same time. Hopefully our folks in the audience were able to follow along with us. All right. The next item on the agenda is the consent calendar, which consists of the minutes and the bills that have to be paid. Is there anything anyone wants to pull for further clarification, or do I have a motion?
I have something that I'd like to pull. I'd like to just, I have a couple quick questions on 3B, which is the financials piece. Is that okay?
Okay, Jeff, you want to pull that, and we'll go ahead and take those questions, and then we'll take a motion following that. Sure.
So BBK fees are a little high this month, and I think most of it had to do with the Olivia project work. So my question was around the timing of reimbursement, because I think that we get reimbursed for some of those fees, if I'm not mistaken. Do we have a cadence for the reimbursement? So that was one question. The second question is, when you look at, also, there was a new item this month, or this period, and that had to do with, it's odd description. It said gun confiscation legal fees. So I was just wondering what that was. That was new, and I didn't know that we were engaged in that type of activity. That was a question. And then let's see, I wrote it down here. Let me get the right one. Yeah, okay, that was it.
I'll take the cadence question. So Jeff, when you mean cadence, are you talking about the timing of reimbursements?
Yes.
Okay. So typically how it works with us dealing with deposit accounts is whatever project we're working at and working with, that project will put in deposits, and as needed, as it's charged by staff or or our legal team, we'll take out of that deposit account, and then it'll be replenished by the developer. We'll contact the developer or the project and let them know it has to be replenished, and then we pull from there. So only as
okay.
And only as needed. Does that answer?
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Thanks.
And on the gun confiscation matter, I'm happy to give you more detail in an email, but it was taking away a weapon from an individual, so it involved some litigation work, which is why that has more costs associated with it. But I'm happy to get you, send a confidential email to the council with more details on that matter.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. Are there any other questions about either the minutes or the financial demands? If not, I think, Jim, you had tried to make...
Yeah, Jim Diaz, a move approval.
I'll second that.
Okay, I have a motion by Diaz and a second by Catalano to approve the consent calendar. All in favor? Janet, please call the roll.
All right, roll call. Councilmember Catalano?
Aye.
Councilmember Diaz?
Yes.
Councilmember Wolf?
Aye.
Vice Mayor Juan?
Aye.
Mayor Pierce?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. The next thing we have on our agenda is recognitions and presentations. And while I know it says none on your agenda, This weekend, we came up with 2 more. And I literally, if you heard that ding in the background, I just got a request for a minor edit on one of them, so I'm going to make Janet do it again. But the first one would be a declaration in recognition of Clayton graduates. And I made this very generic to cover all graduates at all levels of school, including college. But we're also in the process of getting banners for the entries, the 3 major sign locations, recognizing Clayton Valley Charter High School graduation and the essential workers, which is the other proclamation that we're doing this evening. Many of you got the email reminding us by a citizen that June is Public Safety Month, and his email actually focused more on recognizing essential workers. So that's what we're doing in this one. If we decide we want to do a separate one for Public Safety Month at our meeting next month, we can do that. But the one for Clayton Graduates Day declares now June 1st, not June 2nd, as Clayton Graduates Day, and it says, whereas the month of June is traditionally the month when graduations occur across the nation, in California and in Clayton, and whereas the unprecedented COVID-19 pandemic resulted in Mount Diablo Unified School District and all schools and colleges in Contra Costa converting to an online learning environment in March 2020. And whereas the COVID-19 pandemic resulted in traditional graduation ceremonies being canceled, replacing them with drive-through ceremonies and other recognitions, and whereas the graduating classes of Clayton students at all levels of education have demonstrated tremendous resilience, hard work, and fortitude despite this challenge, and whereas Clayton schools and students are the pride of our community and commitment to academic achievement is a cornerstone of the city's cultural heritage, now therefore, I, Julie Pierce, Mayor of the City of Clayton, on behalf of the entire Clayton City Council and our community, do hereby congratulate the 2020 graduates of the City of Clayton and hereby proclaim June 1st, 2020 as Clayton Graduates 2020 Day in the City of Clayton. The draft I sent you had June 2nd. I am informed that they wanted it the day before so they can celebrate for the 2 days of December, or June 2nd and 3rd. The second proclamation is one for Healthcare, Public Safety, and Essential Service Workers Appreciation Month, and that is declaring June as that month. And it's a similar one, and it talks about, whereas during this unprecedented and rapidly changing time, healthcare and essential service workers are on the front lines, keeping our communities moving, caring for the ill, providing essential services, and ensuring public safety. And whereas our first responders, doctors, nurses, hospital workers, EMTs, scientists, law enforcement officers, firefighters, and many others are on the front lines supporting the health of our community. And whereas they have devoted their time, their resources, and risked their lives in the ongoing fight to defeat COVID-19, and whereas these dedicated workers, friends, and neighbors deserve our gratitude and recognition, and whereas in recognition of the extraordinary measures being taken by healthcare, public safety, and essential service workers, we would like to express our gratitude and appreciation for their work. Now, therefore, I, Julie Pierce, Mayor of the City of Clayton, on behalf of the entire Clayton City Council and our Clayton residents, do hereby thank all the essential workers who live in or serve our community, and do hereby proclaim the month of June 2020 to be Essential Workers Month, and sincerely thank them for their sacrifice and care. So there will also be a banner that will go up along with the one congratulating Clayton Valley High School graduates, that will go up on the entry banners, thanking all of our essential workers. And those should go up, hopefully, barring shipping delays, should go up on Friday. That's the hope. Otherwise, they will go up on Tuesday. So hopefully that will address some of the concerns. raised by some of our residents. The next item on the agenda is reports. The Planning Commission did not meet, nor has the Trails and Landscaping Committee. And so we go to City Manager and staff reports. Connie?
Thank you, Mayor. I have a few announcements, and then I'll turn over the time to Paul Rodriguez. Just want to let the community know we have 3 spots on the Planning Commission that is opening. The deadline that is posted is June 10th. So just wanted to invite everybody in the community, if you're interested to move the needle on planning in the city, feel free to apply June 10th. Get with our city clerk, Janet Calderon. Feel free to email us or call the main line, and we can get you an application. Also wanted to let council and the community know we're working right now with city staff engineering department on city streets. We'll be bringing this forward. It's called the 2021 project. That will be bringing about 12 streets to council in the month of June. We're hoping for this upcoming city council. So these 12 streets will be improved, and we'll just working through that with Scott Ullman, our city engineer. Also working with Paul Rodriguez, our finance director, on the budget. We'll be bringing this hopefully next. We have planned to bring this to our next city council meeting, working through the numbers, meeting with department heads, and Paul will be meeting with additional departments tomorrow. We'll be convening a meeting as a budget review committee tomorrow afternoon. And not only is Paul working on the budget, but he's also working on moving here from Eureka. So he's right now staying at some family member's house, but in just a few days he'll have a place of his own, and we'll all be under one roof, along with our community development director, who actually drove his U-Haul in today. And so he's moving and unboxing, and that's why he couldn't be here today. So I apologize about that. He should be here next week on Zoom. And that's all I have. Paul Rodriguez, take it away.
Honorable Mayor, members of the council, excuse me, city manager basically summarized what I was going to say. I am pretty excited to be able to close escrow today on our house in Antioch, and I'm excited to be able to live under the same roof as my wife again. So that's going to be nice. As Connie had mentioned, I'm going to be meeting with Scott Ullman, the city engineer, tomorrow to go through the funds that he's responsible for, as well as the CIPs that he is working on. At that point, other than community development, I will have gone through all of the budgets for the various funds and departments of the city. And by tomorrow afternoon, Connie and I plan on working a lot of hours on going through the budget, just he and I, to get it ready for the Finance Advisory Committee, which I believe is the whole city council, as well as members of the public. So we look forward to bringing a good, strong document to you.
Very good. Any questions of either Connie or of Paul? Seeing none, we will move on to council reports. Our reports from council liaisons to regional committees, commissions, and boards. And I'm going to go around the screen in front of me and start with Jim.
Thank you. I did just attend a couple of these conferences that are being very plentiful of late with not only the state but nationally. And then on yesterday, I met with the city manager to go over some of the items that are on the agenda for tonight, as well as some future things related to finance and the budget. That's it.
Okay, CW?
I attended the White House briefing conference call, and also, of course, our closed session. Worked with Councilmember Catalano on the upcoming proclamation for Pride and the flag raising. Also met with Dee Vieira from the organization that's supplying the flags, and she's getting that all taken care of for us, and talking about what we're going to do for the flag raising. Did several emails from citizens, including today. I know we all got various residents from Mount Air in that area, and I know we need to talk about that later on with regard to the parking problems they're having on Mount Air. Also, I had a question which I passed to Connie from a citizen about the weed abatement schedule. Also had a message from someone asking me about why the city canceled the festivals for the summer. And I answered them that this is a CBCA decision, the Clayton Business and Community Association, the one that put on those festivals every year. And it wasn't the city's determination, it was the CBCA that decided to cancel those. And there's a lot of planning and things that go on with those things, even though something like Oktoberfest is many months away. Paying early bills and getting all the volunteers and security and all the other things you have to put together. I've been on several of those committees over the years, and you really start almost immediately after the festival's over planning for the next year, and this is just too big of a task for them to take on. Now, the city, of course, we did cancel the 4th of July parade, and the concerts I know are also in flux or canceled. And those are things that were, again, with the COVID-19 orders, are beyond our control. And then finally, I had a citizen from Clayton contact me with regards to a grant. The citizen was from Clayton, Missouri, so I sent her back to Clayton, Missouri. And that's my report.
I wonder if that's the same woman who contacted me about 2 years ago and she was from Clayton, Missouri.
I don't know.
Well, I'm glad that somebody answered because I got the same email.
Did you?
I got an actual phone call from her.
Oh,
Yeah.
did you?
Yeah.
Okay, Jeff?
You're on.
Muted.
Some folks. Yeah.
Can't hear you.
There you go.
You got me now?
Yep, we got you now.
All right, cool. Sign of the times. I mostly talk with folks around town, email, phone, and meetings, talking about things like the parking around Mount Air, weeds that we've kind of already talked about, road conditions, and some extended discussions around Pride support in June. And so, I just want to reiterate that. I understand a lot of people's concerns, and sometimes we need to agree to disagree. So, other than that, I think that was about it.
Okay, thanks, Jeff. Tuya?
Yeah, so for me, I don't typically report emails and other communications, although I know all of us have those, and I also got that same call from Missouri, Clayton, Missouri. But I did work with, as CW mentioned, worked on the ad hoc committee regarding the Pride Month activities and related items. But that's it for me.
Okay, very good. Well, I've told you a couple of mine in the recognitions and presentations. To follow up on CW's report, yes, all of the concerts are canceled. It was easier to do that now so that those bands are aware. We have promised them that we will try to rebook them for similar dates next season and try to keep the entire list intact. That would be absolutely lovely if we could do that. We've got some great concerts that were scheduled. AJ Chaparro is going to post several videos every Saturday night that would have been a concert. He's going to post several of those bands' videos on the CBCA and the concert Facebook pages. So it doesn't last very long, but we're also going to put the link there to their website so that if you're so inclined, you can go to their website and listen to more of their videos. Some of them have quite a few videos of their music on their website. So you can kind of get a vicarious preview of what next season will look like. Also had an interesting phone call from a woman who is working for the 2020 census. and she proposed a challenge. And she informed me that we are number 2 in the state in our response rate to the 2020 census. We are, the day she called me, we were at 82%. We are today at 82.6% of our citizens have responded. We are led, unfortunately, by the city of Piedmont, who is at 83.3%.
We can catch them.
Well, that's exactly what she's proposing, is that we have a city-to-city challenge.
Uh-oh.
Now, let me tell you, Danville and some of the other nearby cities in Contra Costa are hot on our heels. So we need to make this a real effective campaign. So we're going to do a friendly challenge with number 1 and number 2 to see who can actually win and get the highest participation. And we're going to have a little friendly challenge and prizes for, the loser to get the winner. But we're going to do this from now until the fall. She's going to announce it in the newspaper. I looked at the website today, which was very interesting. 4 of the top 10 cities are in Contra Costa County in the state. I think that's pretty incredible. But we are at number 2 right now. And so we are going to do this. It will be in the newspaper later this week, whenever the thing gets posted online. But I wanted to let you know that we're going to do a little friendly challenge there. We're going to try to keep that going. I will share some of the social media stuff with all of you so you can help promote it, and we can help get the last of those folks up and going, and we can share to our email lists as well. I, just as a quick update, I attended 5 Association of Bay Area Government related meetings, different committees, a Contra Costa Transportation Authority meeting, attended the mayor's conference in Hercules. We didn't have a presentation. It was all online, just a regular business meeting. And the Transpac Committee met last week and approved our strategic plan and our dues, which will be going down just a smidge this year. We're going to use our reserves to keep the dues stable. So that was the meetings that I attended over the last couple of weeks. So the next item on our agenda is public comment. And this is a time reserved for public comment on items that are not on tonight's agenda. And so we're going to open up the lines and see who we have as attendees. When I call on you, you will be unmuted, and the city clerk will set a timer for 3 minutes. And at the end of your 3 minutes, you will be remuted by our city manager. So I see that we have one attendee with their hand up, and that is Dee Vieira. Dee, can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can. Go ahead. Your 3 minutes are starting now. Thanks, Dee.
Good evening, council and staff. My name is Dee Vieira, and I live in Dana Hills. I just wanted to share some thoughts and give you something to think about. In this time of COVID, I think we have learned a lot about how to work safely from home and social distance ourselves when we're out and about. My husband works for PayPal, and PayPal has learned it can have their employees work efficiently from home and communicate.
Yeah, I apologize. Let's stop the timer, Janet. Do you have do you have a phone and a computer on, or do you have 2 screens or 2?
Because you're self-isolating in a cave.
I hear that. How do I fix that?
You have to turn off either mute either your phone or your computer, but not both.
My phone is not on.
Did you sign in twice? Do you have 2 sign-ins?
I don't know. Let's see. Does that work? Well, I don't know.
Can you yodel?
Is it better now? Oh my gosh. You know what? It's not that.
Hey, Connie, I would recommend removing one of the IDs from the meeting.
Yeah, okay.
It's the one that the mic isn't on, and I think it maybe was resulting.
Yeah, I wonder if they're attached, because if I remove this one and they're connected, then it's going to be hard for her to get back in.
Do you have a...
She could rejoin.
Dee, is your phone number end in 6913? Dee?
She's muted now.
She's muted now.
Am I okay now?
You are. Do you have a phone that ends in 6913?
That is not me.
Okay.
Okay.
No, see, it's not the mic from the other one. It's the speaker from the other one that's looping. So I think if you remove the one that's muted,
okay,
it should work.
All right, Dee.
Oh.
Hopefully you're not connected to this.
And if we kick her out, then she can rejoin.
I don't know. I'll try to fix it.
That's
All right.
better.
You're good now.
Oh, am I?
Better.
Yeah, you're good.
Oh,
Okay.
can I start over?
Yes, let's start her over, Janet.
I'm sorry.
Back up.
That's when I thought this was working so well. Anyway, I just wanted to share some thoughts and give you something to think about. During COVID, we've learned a lot about how to work safely from home and social distance ourselves when we're out and about. And I wanted to share with you, my husband works for PayPal, and PayPal has learned they can have their employees work efficiently from home and communicate via Zoom conferences. In fact, it's been working so well that PayPal is getting more accomplished from their employees. My husband says he works more at home than he did in the office. The only thing I'm not sure how I feel about is having him working from home 24 hours a day, 24 hours, 7 days a week and through October. But on that note, I wanted to commend iConnie for doing a great job at keeping us all informed and connected through virtual conferences. So because I think this is working so well, I wondered if there were any thoughts to continue this way of communication when we return to public meetings. I think it's a way for others to attend city meetings when we cannot be physically, present in the public format. So I'm not sure how that would work, but it would be great if we could do both. It works nicely. So that's all I wanted to share. Sorry for all the technical problems.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Silly boy. All right. Yes. Thank you, Dee. Actually, I think the legislature is starting to kick around the possibilities of virtual meetings as an alternative or as an augmentation. I don't think there's anything in print yet in Sacramento, but they are finding the same thing as you have experienced. And I certainly have. Every committee that I belong to has had better participation by the public in Zoom meetings than we usually get in in-person meetings. So we'll see how it goes and whether they have to fix the Brown Act or what they have to do. But it'll be an interesting thing to follow, and we will keep you updated on that. So, okay, Irina Liskovich has a comment. Irina, can you unmute yourself, please? There you go.
Yeah, well, I'm an IT, so I know how to do that.
Good.
Okay, so basically, no, I have a question. Is the city workers removing the weeds and watering the plants? Because when I take my walks, it looks like it's Wild West out there, plus the plants are dying. Are they resuming the work, or?
Is that all of your public comment? Because I can start to answer that, and we can have Laura finish if we want to.
That's all.
Okay. Let me tell you, the guys are out there working so hard trying to catch up. But as you probably know, if you let your garden go for 6 weeks and do nothing during the rainy season, it turns into a real mess. And with COVID-19, we have had to be very careful and can't hire who we usually hire for our landscape maintenance, weed control and all of that, our temporary workers, because they come from a service. Not all of them have cars. Not all of them can travel separately. There's just all kinds of stuff with the new rules for what we have to do. So we haven't been able to get them back on staff. So our permanent workers are trying to catch up, but they started 6 weeks behind the weeds. And so we all are going to have to be just a little patient about that. And we are working hard to find an alternative to the temporary workers to see what we can do to catch up. But hang in there. We're getting there. Laura, you have anything to add?
Yes, thank you, Mayor. We are looking at seeing if we could contract some of that work out with an independent company, which then could mobilize workforces in compliance with COVID-19. We're not there yet, but we're exploring that, which would help because we're not going to catch up. There's no way we're going to be able to catch up. The other thing that's exasperated the situation, if you recall last year, we suspended the use of glyphosate for weed control throughout the city. And we've tried some other alternative products. And as you can tell, the results is that we've got weed sprouting everywhere. So that's added to the complication. So the two of those things have collided. Probably not using glyphosate, having crews that could have been out there a little earlier could have kept it a little bit more under control. But those two events have just made the sprout. And we're very concerned too, because obviously these last few days of rain will probably allow a second growth of weeds to resprout that we had somewhat started to tackle a couple weeks ago. The fire breaks, though, all of the fire abatement work is undergoing right now. So that's the area in mostly the open space areas along the trails. That work has just started. It's got a few more weeks to go. And we'll make sure we can post the schedule and the approximate timelines on the website. We just got the schedule from the contractor. Unfortunately, he was so busy attending to the weed abatement out in the field, he forgot to get us the schedule. So he's probably got about a quarter to a third of it knocked out already. But we will get that schedule online tomorrow.
Okay. Thank you, Laura. I appreciate that. You know, we're all just having to be patient and get that done. I don't see any other hands raised. If you're on the phone and you'd like to speak, you need to touch *9 to raise your hand. Are there any others who wish to speak under public comment? Aha, very good. The caller with 6913 at the end.
Can you hear me?
We can. Please identify yourself.
Perfect. This is Judy Malley. Thank you for taking the call. I am following up on the petition that I sent regarding Mount Terra Parkway and the problems that we are having. And I'm sure you guys are all well aware. I wanted to redefine the permit to just include the houses at 302, 304, 308, 313, 309, and 305, not to include Mount Sierra or Mount Trinity. I'm not sure why the opposite side on Regency is closed when there's no houses there. All the traffic is come to our side. And we are not able to leave the house without returning to where we want to park. I had a neighbor at 313. Her house was egged because she told somebody that they were parking in front of a hydrant. And I want to make sure that everybody is aware that this is just a disaster. And it's only going to continue to get worse. What should we do about this? And can we hop on board with the pilot program?
Well, do you have any other comments you want to make, or would you like a response?
No, you can go ahead and respond.
Okay. We're actually going to add this to a future agenda item. I had a conversation with both the chief of police and with our city attorney today. I was hoping that we could just direct some action today to solve the problem before this weekend. We're not allowed to do that. But I am going to be suggesting toward the end of the meeting, because we're all wanting to get something done on this and put it forward. I am going to suggest we meet next Tuesday with this as one of the agenda items, and so that we can do something. And what that will be, we'll figure out between now and then. But that's the soonest we can actually do something. We can't get anything posted in time to do anything before next Tuesday after the holiday weekend. So hang in there. We understand. The folks on Regency dealt with it for a couple of years, and, you know, I feel great sympathy for you, but hopefully we can get the state park to do something about opening up their parking lot at Mitchell Canyon. That would help a lot. So anyway,
Can I make one comment on that one, Julie?
Yeah.
On the petition, it didn't include some actionable specifics. So I noted that there were 8 unique household signers, multiple signers from the same household, but 8 total properties. If between now and then you were able to solicit additional support within the affected areas, I think that would be more persuasive. So that would be a recommendation I would give to you. And then also I would recommend identifying specific areas that would be impacted, because there needs to be some cutoff, and so I think that would be helpful. So just a recommendation.
Okay. We can't go much further with our discussion on that without an agenda item. So stay tuned. We'll be meeting about it hopefully next week. I see my city attorney agreeing to you.
Yeah, I'm not going to, just to comment, when you do notice it to come back next time, perhaps the noticing should include also whether or not we should consider the end of the Regency Loop, the one that doesn't have any houses, whether that should be part of the discussion.
That was part of what I discussed with both the chief and Molly today, and how we can act on that. And so we'll deal with that as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, the entire question is there. So we'll deal with that next week. And I don't see any other hands raised for public comment. So,
Mayor,
yes.
If I could just ask, I know during her public comments, I think it was Irina, if she could send an email if we don't have it already. She made some references to some specific addresses that clarified, I think, her earlier email. If she can maybe loop that back to us in writing. Her comment, she listed some specific addresses she wanted the parking permit program to focus on Monterey.
That wasn't Irina, though.
That wasn't Irina.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That was our caller.
That was Judy. Yeah.
Yeah.
If she could get that to us.
Yep. Okay. Very good. So we will close the public comment period. We have no public hearings this evening. We have one action item on our agenda, and that is to look at and adopt a resolution affirming and clarifying the duties and responsibilities of the Trails and Landscape Committee, which serves as the Citizens Oversight Committee for the City Landscape Maintenance District. And we have a report from the Assistant to the City Manager. Laura?
Certainly. Thank you, Mayor, members of the council and public. This item tonight before you is a follow-up from your meeting of February 18th. At that time, you considered and reviewed the staff's recommendation and a resolution regarding the roles and responsibilities of the Trails and Landscaping Committee. At the conclusion of the meeting, it was the consensus of the council for the mayor to appoint an ad hoc committee consisting of Vice Mayor Jeff Wan and Councilmember Toya Catalano. And the purpose was to allow them to preview language after staff made some formatting changes based upon your direction at February 18th, and for the committee to eliminate, and my formatting including eliminating redundant statements and providing some clarification. The ad hoc committee did go back and forth, I believe, with the document electronically. They had both areas of agreements and differences regarding specific language used to outline the duties and responsibilities for that of the Trails and Landscaping Committee and staff. This matter is now being brought back to the full City Council to receive modifications to the attached Exhibit A to the resolution. The ad hoc committee reached an impasse on language specifically related to may versus shall, which is noted in the attached Exhibit A, as well as some other areas that are marked in the track changes. Exhibit A is the most recent draft that accepted the track changes. I accepted track changes where there appeared to be agreement between the two committee members where they were aligned. And the notes have been left in the document where the areas where there were not agreement, as well as some notes from staff. I will now allow the ad hoc committee members to maybe present their thoughts to the council as to their differences on that. And the goal is once the council majority has reached agreement on final language, then the resolution may be adopted. And the intent is that this resolution would supersede the prior resolution, so we have a clean working document to go forward with on the roles and responsibilities of the TLC and that of staff. The document is Exhibit A to focus your attention on. That was the bulk of the work. The resolution is just a resolution, but the attached Exhibit A is the meat of the matter. And pages 2 through 5 of that document are the ones that you can see where there were differences and not yet agreement achieved. So I will leave it to the committee members, and however the mayor would like to proceed with that, to go over their thoughts on that, and staff I'm available to answer any questions you may have at this point.
Okay, I have a report from the committee members, and then maybe we just go over one item at a time and figure out where we need to be. So who wants to start the report from the subcommittee?
Did you want to go too? It doesn't matter to me. Well, I mean, we can talk through it. Did you want to take public comment first or go straight to whatever?
We can check and see if we have any public comment. I don't see any hands raised at this point. If you'd like to comment on this item, please raise your hand and we can take public comment. I don't see anyone raising their hand, so let's go ahead and have you two do a report and we can work our way through. I have 4 pages of marked up documents, so.
Sure. Did you want to go or do you want me to go? That's fine.
Either way, I'm happy to go. Maybe I'll start with a couple of comments. So I mean, I think so we went back and forth with the document, and what you see is sort of a red line that includes, I think there was, the last red line was Jeff's red line, and then I added some comments on where we disagreed a little bit. But I think the main disagreement was overall on whether some of the tasks should be mandatory or sort of suggested tasks. And I think sort of my thinking at least was, and my understanding, when we had the February full city council meeting, was that, we would definitely wanted to come up with an instructional document that clarifies the role of the TLC, but does not expand the tasks that the committee has. And that's really where my thinking was, that I think that some of the language on some of those tasks should be may, not shall. And here's my thinking on it. I'm careful about not creating additional mandatory tasks for the committee for a couple of reasons. One, I'm not 100% sure that that's what the voters originally approved. But then I think more importantly, I'm also concerned about creating additional mandatory tasks that will create additional staff time and staff work, which will result in fiscal impacts, which we should be definitely careful, especially now with COVID-19 potential budgetary impacts. And it might also result in prioritization of staff workload. So I'm careful about, I don't think we should be creating mandatory tasks. That's my main point in there. And I think both of us really would like to see the TLC do as much as they want and can. And I think both of us would like to see their ideas and welcome their input. So I think some of these tasks here are great in, instructional and hoping that the TLC committee will contribute. But the key difference is that I don't think they should be mandatory tasks. So I'll stop there. And Jeff, if you want to expand a little bit more.
Jeff?
Sure. I think, the lack of clarity around what the voters actually approved is probably why we're having this discussion. So hopefully we can resolve some of that. I took a second pass after has it been 3 months? It's been about 3 months since we last touched it. And I think that we agree in more places that we don't. I echo the sentiment that we don't want to create unnecessary burden. Some of the tasks I think should be mandatory, like the core tasks like budget review and things like that. That's like the thrust of the TLC. But then I do think in others, I went through and I made comments on each of the ones where we disagree, so we can go through those. But ultimately, the point, or not the point, the gist of what I was trying to go for was that I wanted the activities of the TLC to be permissive and not restrictive. So the idea that the TLC has the ability to do many things within the scope of their role, not necessarily that they have to do a litany of things that, that they may be less interested in. And so I do think that on some of these where we were talking about may versus shall, I think that's fine. Like I'd be okay with several of them, and we should go through. I think we can go through very quickly and just resolve each of those if that's okay.
I think that's a good idea.
So
yeah, let's go ahead.
Sure.
And start with
so on C3.
Okay, let me ask, and let's just go through all of them in case anybody else has comments on
Sure.
any of the items.
If I may clarify, just so people understand the base document between the vice mayor and the council member, the original language was may in this, and I think that's where Jeff was trying to get a little bit more detailed in shall. So that's where it says may/shall in this document. That's where there's differences between the two, and I appreciate the vice mayor's comments now. So I think if you can go down and take them one by one, I think you can maybe get to agreement on language.
That's exactly
Sure.
where we're going. So items A.
So for this one,
let me ask. Anybody have an issue with purpose and committee size? Those are all fine. A and B.
I'm fine.
Okay. Item C, term of office. Number one just clarifies the ex officios are not appointed for 2-year terms. No issue with number 2. Item 3 for terms of office. That's a may or shall. I would just suggest that shall be considered for reappointment, and stress that to us that is not an automatic reappointment, but they shall be considered for reappointment. Anybody have a problem with that?
Yeah, and that's where I was going. I think we have an obligation to consider anyone who applies that meets the minimum qualifications, and then it's at our discretion, essentially.
Exactly.
We can't arbitrarily set someone aside.
Right, exactly. So that one's pretty easy. Now we're starting to get into the meat of it. And item D, this one was one that staff had a comment on for D2, whether the meeting dates are determined or coordinated by staff. I would say, because it says determined by staff in consultation with the committee members, that should be just fine. Anybody have a different view on that?
I was actually, when I read the comment, I was actually fine with coordinated. I think the staff, oh, sorry. No, I said I have no objection to determined if staff wants to determine dates. That's no problem with me, as long as that the committee members are consulted. Because I think there were 2 thrusts of this comment. So if we say determine, if staff wants it to say determined, that seems fine to me, as long as it's determined in consultation with the committee members, so we don't set meetings without telling them.
Exactly. And the standard practice has been to poll the members and see when they can meet, throw out several different dates, see when they can all meet, and generally been pretty good at getting the right dates for that. Somebody is sharing their, Laura, you're sharing.
That's it, Connie.
Yeah, just thank you, Mayor, council members, to let you know, we are, the city manager is sharing that document that you're reviewing now, so that we can clean it up, and hopefully you will be able to make adoption of the resolution with the cleaned up document.
That works. Okay. So we're done with D2. I don't see any more comments on D. Everybody else okay with the rest of D? I'm seeing nodding heads. Okay.
Fine, yeah, no problem.
Okay. So we're down to E, and this is the meat of it. So the first one, I think it indicates a change. I suspect that was a typo. since there's no note of any kind. So let's go down to...
You're correct. That's either that or that there's agreement by the committee and staff, and so it was accepted into the document.
Okay. So E3, Tuya and Jeff, you want to talk to this one?
Sure. So I'm actually fine with the word may here. I think that being permissive is okay. It's the second portion that I think we may disagree. I think that this is about whether recommendations need to be or required to be within the scope of the budget of the TLC. And so here, I think that if collectively the TLC believes that some action is warranted, they should be free to recommend that action even if it exceeds the budget. Ultimately, I think the council can then decide if it wants to appropriate any additional funds should that recommendation have sufficient merit. So I think this would allow recommendations for worthwhile items that may not have been previously contemplated, even if it's outside the budget. So I would suggest that if the TLC were to continually recommend things that exceed the budget and that these things are less than stellar, then we can address that by providing guidance directly to TLC members. But I wouldn't want to hamstring them saying that even if they have this fantastic idea, it may cost a little more, but let's see if it's actually worth it, then we can decide. I would want to take that suggestion. And I wouldn't want to put constraints around what they could recommend and saying that they could only do it if it's within the budget. And that's that's where the language change that I had made here.
And I think my point here was, because I don't want to set the expectation that, because any recommendation usually has a fiscal impact. So I just want the language to be clear that there may be budgetary reasons why whether it's a TLC or the city council can't take some action immediately, that it may have to wait until the budgetary process, for example. So I want to at least somehow recognize here that I would certainly want to encourage suggestions as well, but I want to make sure that there's some reference to the fact that our ability to do things is still tied to the budget.
And if I may add from a staff perspective, I appreciate the Vice Mayor's explanation because that gave more context than the notes in the track changes. The staff's fine with the concept of Vice Mayor Wan's suggestion. Certainly the TLC should be free to make recommendations at any time when they meet. They do that. The concern staff has is we can't drop everything and take that recommendation right away to the city council. The appropriate time, would be typically to submit that. We'll take it and batch it as part of the mid-year budget review where you can make adjustments and changes and add new projects in, or at the regular fiscal year process, unless there's something just out of the ordinary. But I thought the language there, that we still have to have the staff capability. If they come up with a recommendation and say, I want all new trees put on Oakhurst Boulevard, you have the money, let's recommend this to the council. We don't have the time to drop everything and turn around and put a staff report together to you. We have other things. We need to have some flexibility that we keep them focused on the 2 times a year you deal with the budget at mid-year and the beginning of the fiscal year.
Can I make a suggestion that I think addresses what all of you are saying? And I'd say take out all of the shaded part at the end and keep it really simple to the first sentence and just amend it this way and say the committee, I said shall, but I'm okay with may. The committee may review the conditions of the landscape trails and open space annually as part of the fiscal year or mid-year budget process, period. That allows them to make any suggestions that they want, but it's only during those 2 budget processes rather than every time they meet or calling a special meeting to think of whatever somebody's newest idea is. And, if they think that there's something that warrants going outside what that year's budget is, I don't have a problem with them throwing that to us for consideration. Ultimately, we're the ones that control the purse for the city. But I do think we want recommendations from them, but I think it does need to be constrained. I was going to say to the fiscal year process, but if staff's okay with mid-year, that's probably not a bad idea either. Mid-year is generally after the rainy season, and if there's something that's happened that we need to address that we didn't anticipate, that's probably a good time to do that. Other suggestions?
I'm good with that.
It's almost like what we're dealing with now with our problems given the lockdown. Didn't a lot of this stem from the fact that there was a lack of creativity that was being accepted by us, and that's why we're having to review this in the first place?
I think there was differences. I think there just may have been differences on what the cadence and process, and so this is like clarifying process.
Right. And so I think we do need to accept in some way, and I agree with you, Julie, that the simpler the better, the more straightforward the document, the better. And if the language is that they can suggest something outside of the budget process, I think that would be fine. At least they know we would be listening to that.
Right. So Connie,
yeah,
if we're all good with that, are we?
Well, if I may, Mayor, from a
that.
staff perspective, do you want to include recommend suggestions to staff and the city council at the end of that?
No.
Okay. Just want to make sure where the ending was. Thank you.
It says that in the first sentence. Recommend suggestions to staff and the council regarding proposed operations and proposed projects, period.
Yes.
Okay, I see.
You see?
Yeah.
So, Mayor, after fiscal year process, we're deleting everything after that?
Yeah, and you need a annually and. You need an and after the annually.
Right.
Are we doing mid-year or fiscal year?
We're doing both.
Both.
Okay. Okay. So delete everything there.
Yeah. And you could say annually or as part of the mid-year. Yes. And is the one we want.
I think you deleted too much. I think you want to keep the first annually as part of the fiscal year budget process, recommend suggestions to staff and city council regarding. You want to end it at projects.
That's
projects.
Right there is where the period goes.
Perfect. Okay.
Exactly. And then the rest of it goes away.
Done.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
I like that better. It's a lot simpler.
Yeah, that's good.
Everybody okay with that?
Yeah, I think it clarifies it significantly.
Okay. Then on to number 4.
I think that's very similar to number 3, and I think that's what I think my point there was I think we need to staff resources are limited, so I think we want to make sure that the expectation is realistic, that it's not going to be probably every meeting when these are going to be made. So I would do the May, and then I think
hold on. Yeah.
The stricken language.
So the stricken language. So this is a two-parter, right? So the stricken language is kind of similar theme to to E3 above. So I think we take a similar approach to that one. But I actually do. This is the one item I think should be shall. And that is because this is one of the core duties of the TLC is to review the budget.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, it should have been shall.
Yeah, for most of the other ones, I think I'm good with may, but this is the one I think should be shall.
I agree.
Agreed.
Jim and CW, you okay with shall?
Yeah, I agree with Jeff saying that since that is one of the primary functions.
I guess the question is, do we need the language that is stricken there in the end? Because we just said that they can make proposals at those budgetary times.
You can even strike the second sentence altogether if you really wanted to, because it's contained up above. You could strike the whole sentence.
It's part of the whole thing in the above paragraph, is it not?
Yeah, it is. It's the same thing.
Tuya, you okay with that?
Yeah, that's good.
Okay. Let's make this as simple as we can so everybody knows what they're doing.
And I have, Mayor, if you could ask, or maybe it's a city attorney question, including the language shall, what would happen in the occasion where we do not have a quorum of the body to undertake the review of the budget prior to it being referred to the city council? Is that still going to be acceptable? With the word shall.
Yeah, I can see your point, Laura.
But you can't require an impossibility, right?
Well, is it because, Laura, you said in that example it'd be because of failure to get a quorum?
A quorum, yes, prior to their ability to meet. It could be that they would meet after the council's taken the action on the budget. We've had that occur. We've had to squeeze in one before their second meeting. Sometimes it's had to fall.
You could put should, or you just keep it shall. And
well, I can live with shall unless a quorum is not, something that gives an opt out to say that, due to lack of quorum or meeting schedule, something like that.
But doesn't that go without saying for almost anything?
I asked, that's why I raised the question with legal.
Yeah,
I don't want somebody to say, oh, the city council took action on the budget for the landscape district, and it was required here that the landscape committee had to review it first, and therefore that budget is not technically okay.
But aren't they just a suggesting body? Is it?
They're a recommending body.
Recommending body.
But here you're saying that before you take action, they shall review it.
We could add some language unless a quorum is not obtainable or something to that effect. If you feel that's a,
or we go back to
may or should.
You mean?
Well, I mean that kind of, if you say may, you are implying that if they choose not to, then that is within their discretion. And I would say if you're on the TLC, your core duty is to ensure the public money is being spent in the way that it was, in the way that the voters passed. So that to me is the core duty. If you're on the TLC, you are reviewing the budget. If there's no quorum, I mean, you can still review it. You don't need a quorum to review.
I have to have a quorum in order to convene a meeting of the TLC. Otherwise, they don't meet, and you will not have their input before you take action. And this says that you shall have their input before you take action. So it's a timing issue. So I'm just wanting, I like the city attorney's suggestion of something saying unless a quorum is not available. It gives them
there's no language that says that they're required to have their recommendation before we meet.
You cannot. Well, the way this reads is, the problem I have is you adopt the budget without their input. You will adopt their budget. You have to do that by statute in June, by June 30th.
Yes, what I'm saying is this doesn't require us. This is speaking only to the committee's review of the budget. It doesn't speak to council action with regard to that budget. So that it is silent on that fact. So I think you're assuming you're bringing in something that's not included in this item. The item is discrete in saying that the committee must review the budget, period.
Maybe we'll overthink.
That's true.
Maybe
that's the second sentence. It says the committee shall accept or make alternative recommendations and suggestions to the city council regarding the district's budget, which...
Well, we deleted that one.
Struck that.
Oh, you struck all of that out?
Yeah, that was all gone.
Yeah, we just delete that.
Okay. So therefore, they could still review it after you've taken action on your budget.
Yeah.
So, I mean, maybe we're overthinking this. I mean, if you go above item E1, which is the preparation of the annual report, I mean, that's really what the key commitment for the committee is, which is to make sure that the revenues are collected and the expenses are spent based on what they're intended for. So, I mean, that's definitely a shall over there, and nobody's...
Yeah. I mean, you could include the budget. You can include the budget question in item 1A if you wanted to. 1A is more about actuals, like what you spent and what you took in. Then item 1B is the report out, and then item 3 is like the preparation of the annual report. The 1A, B, and C don't talk about future plan on budget. So it's fine if we want to blend in budget to number 1A since it's primary duties and it's top of the list, and it's all, including within the scope of financial related activities. But we should talk about the budget somewhere here.
Yeah,
Well,
I wasn't suggesting. I think one should stay as it is, but I was just saying that we're definitely covering the mandatory duties in one, which is for them to review the actuals. So maybe the item 4 can be a may or should.
Item 4 was intended to be more proactive so that prior to the council taking action on the budget or either the mid-year review, they had a chance to look at it and weigh in with their recommendations.
Well, we have that in item 3. The way we wrote item 3, that's there.
Item 3 is regarding the conditions with landscaping and trails.
Oh, and
So item 4 is
make
about
recommendations as part of the.
I think that's, if you take it in context, that has to do with recommendations regarding the conditions that is, witnessed or, observed.
And we left
not the budget
proposed
itself.
operation and proposed projects. So that's forward-looking.
It is. I mean, and that does have budget implications just by the nature of being forward-looking. Mm-hmm. But I think number 4 was meant to specifically call out budget review versus conditions review.
Well, maybe we make it should and leave it alone. Then we don't have a legal thing about timing, right?
I think if we strike the bottom half, then that question becomes moot.
There you go.
And then you could leave it as shall. And if there's no quorum, then that's just, I think then you can't have a rule that requires an impossibility. And so you don't really have a problem.
You okay with that, Mala?
I guess I'm okay with it in the sense that if you strike the bottom, it doesn't actually say when they have to review the draft fiscal budget.
Right.
So if for some reason it happens after the fact, so be it. It's happened.
Then it becomes a final budget. It's not a draft. It's an adopted budget.
Fine.
Right. And if they have a real problem with it, can make a case for it, then we can amend it. I mean, if there's a real issue that we don't see.
That's correct.
Agreed.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to make it a shall, and it's only the first sentence ending in district. Correct?
Yep.
And everything else is gone. Right. Okay. On to item 5.
In reading it again, I don't even think we need this here, but it could be a may if we want it there.
To you?
Yeah, just keep it as may. I don't think it hurts to keep it in there.
Okay. They know that they have that opportunity that way.
Isn't it mentioned in the first part of A, B, or C up there somewhere?
That's related to the annual report review, so that's looking after the fact.
I saw measure H in there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, so we'll leave that as a may. Item 6.
I was fine with this as a may, actually, as long as we strike that last part again, consistent with above.
If it's may, then I think you're fine keeping the last part stricken.
Yeah, I think so too, because council has the final say on the budget regardless. So, and hopefully they will understand that they need to try to prioritize their suggestions within whatever the budget actually is. But if they have something that they want to suggest that's outside the budget, make their case and we'll decide.
Yep.
Okay, are we in agreement on that? CW and Jim, you okay with those?
Here, 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 here.
All right, we're done with item 6. On to 7. Anybody have a preference for may or shall?
May is fine there with me.
Everybody agree?
Yep.
Yep.
Okay. Item 8, may or shall, and do we need the last phrase in shading? I would say strike it, but other opinions?
On this one, I think may is fine as long as we leave the last part. And the reason there is because if we leave the last sentence, then we essentially allow the committee the freedom to suggest agenda items as a suggestion. If you don't have that last part, then staff could reject future agenda items, determining that they're outside the scope of the TLC. So it just gives them the ability to do that without having, as they get to self-determine a little bit on what they think is the scope, they can make a suggestion, and then we could, accept or reject as needed.
It does say within the scope of the responsibilities, which we have pretty clearly defined already.
Yeah,
yes.
Are you okay with that, Laura?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I just wanted to make sure they weren't going to bring up something that's outside of their scope and force it on an upcoming TLC agenda. Staff needs to make sure that whatever they bring up is in accordance with their roles and responsibilities. If they wanted to talk about Lydia Lane Park and the condition of Lydia Lane Park, we'd have to tell them, no, you can't put that on the agenda. That's not what you're charged with. So right. I want to make sure it was defined within the scope. So that's fine.
Okay, everybody good with that?
Yep.
Okay, then we skip down to G1.
I'm fine with set.
I am too. How about everybody else? Everybody okay with set? Okay.
Just repeat that again.
It will be set meeting dates in time and time in consultation with the committee members. This is under city staff responsibilities.
Yeah, no, I'm reading it. I just want to make sure where we are. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Everything's good then down to number 8.
This one's kind of weird. I'm fine with any clarifying language here. I was reading it, and it is a little clunky, but I didn't take the time to rewrite it. So any clarifying that keeps the same theme is fine with me.
Others?
I think Laura's suggestion's fine.
Yeah.
Everybody okay with that reintroducing the stricken phrase?
Yeah.
I'm okay.
Jeff, you okay with that?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okie dokie. Tuya?
Yes.
Okay, we're all good with that. All right, on to item 9. And the difference in this one is that instead of the annual budget, this is the mid-year budget, correct?
Correct, and this is again staff responsibilities.
Okay.
Yeah, I had no issue with that.
Okay. So we're good on that. We're all good. I would say item 11 is not needed.
I said the same thing. We don't even need this whole item.
So you're eliminating what?
No, go ahead.
Number 11.
Yeah.
Okay, number 11. Okay, I got it.
Mayor, which one is number 11? Provide staff reports to the committee and city council?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Laura had identified that this is repetitive.
Yeah, that's already up
item.
at number 2. So that's redundant. Okay, so we're down to number 13, and the shaded one. I totally approve of this. I would just say appropriate, and then next to the last line needs an R.
Also, discretion is misspelled in the second, or in the last sentence. Yeah.
You're right. Discretion, huh?
Shall have indiscretion as the...
I will tell you, it was very difficult with all the track comments that were on the margin to try to.
I'm sure.
Not figure out what was overlapped and unlapped.
Well, just run the spell check through it when you get done, okay? Okay, everybody good with the new 13?
Yep.
Okay, that one's in all right. Item 14. Everybody okay with the
So
striking?
this one's a little different. So this is the only discussion of prioritization with the committee. So this sentence here, in collaboration with the committee, determination of priorities. If you eliminate this part, then essentially the committee is not included in any duty relating to prioritization.
That's
and so
correct.
if we want to do that,
I think in collaboration with the committee is not the proper wording here. I think what you're talking about is prioritizing work schedule, Laura, is what staff needs to maintain control of.
Yeah,
And
I think
it's not
yeah.
a matter of prioritization of projects. That's being done in the budget process.
And I think
Setting the schedule is something that staff needs to retain control of, correct?
Yeah, what I was looking at here was once the budget's adopted by the council, staff now has the calendar or the fiscal year to look at how to make those things happen. And we have to work on how to schedule that with all of our other workload and other components. We don't have the committee say, okay, I want you to do this one first, this one second, this one third. We have to look at how we can accomplish everything effectively during the budget year. And so that's a staff determination. So that's what we were trying to retain. And once they've adopted the budget, we keep them updated at the meetings about what's happening and when, just like we do with the council. But we need to be able to flex and shift around throughout the fiscal year, the workload.
Can I make a suggestion? Can I make a suggestion that we go ahead and strike in collaboration with the committee, because implementation of the adopted budget is the committee's priorities. And then the next line starts with determination of scheduling priorities. And scheduling priorities, not project priorities, is the whole point here for staff to be able to determine the scheduling as part of the workflow.
And I think it goes further than that, because the rest of 14 talks about really reviewing specs and construction plans, and that's really something that needs to stay with staff entirely.
Correct.
Yeah, I agree with that. I do think, though, that that the discussion of priorities should be included somewhere in the document, more than just mention of work with budget. When you look back at the history of previous declarations and the tax measures and all that, discussion of priorities from the TLC is rampant within all of those previous iterations. And so I think we should retain some mention of TLC prioritization with regard to, like, project priorities, essentially. And then staff obviously would determine scheduling, do all this contract, all this stuff listed here in 14 is within the scope of staff. But I think we should call out the ability of the TLC to prioritize, separate from just saying that they're, recommendations in the budget. Like the discussion of priorities is listed like 20 times in the previous documents, and so we don't mention it a single time in this.
Don't we do that under E3?
You do.
Let's see, where's that?
That's the one we talked about, and that's where they're going to review the conditions and they're going to recommend suggestions to staff regarding proposed operation and proposed projects. I would assume that means priorities for proposed projects.
I guess.
And then that's fine. Can we specifically call out prioritization in that item then?
Sure.
Separate from 14 here.
Well, this is Laura Hoffmeister here, staff. The concern I have is the interpretation of what the Vice Mayor's saying, because what would happen if, like, we had a project that was budgeted in the current fiscal year budget to do another median island on Clayton Road, to redo it. We did not have the ability and the staff time, even though that was a priority from staff's perspective too, to accomplish that. We had to go and push that to the bottom of the list and work on other things. And this is my concern, that the TLC will say, well, this is what we want done first, this is what we want done second, and we can't do it in that order. There's no way for us to flex throughout the year to adjust based upon staffing, putting things out to bid, doing contract specs, whatever it might be, a drought that ensues that we can't do what was planned, and we're going to have to take another project that was on the list for the fiscal year and move it. We have to be able to flex, like pave the trails because there's a drought, and that's one of the many things that was approved in the budget, and we're going to move that up and do that and push off replanting because we can't do that. So that's my concern.
Well, I would say,
what you're saying might tie us down, and I don't think you were intending that.
No, I don't think that that your concern will come to pass, because saying that the TLC can set priorities like specifically, I think is important because it's so prevalent in the previous formation of the TLC. But because the TLC sets a priority, it doesn't bind staff. So they can set priorities, which I think they should, and then you as staff and we as a council need to weigh those priorities against other fact patterns, and then make a decision.
The budget, we don't bring to the council the priorities. You adopt the budget and the projects for that fiscal year. Staff then implements those based upon resources, time, and picks and choose to accomplish all of those things if we can during that fiscal year. We then take the ball and run with it and determine what to do when during the fiscal year. We need that.
And I would say you would continue. I would say that you would continue to be able to do that. It's just that what I'm suggesting is that just discreetly calling out prioritization, because if you review the materials here and some of the other pages in the agenda, and you just do a search for priority, prior, and then you have to kind of like do any key, but it's littered throughout the historic documents about the TLC establishing priorities, and so I don't want to eliminate that. But but understanding that it doesn't bind staff, like it doesn't force you to take any given action. It just establishes the priorities of the TLC.
Could we fix that in E3 and say, in the sentence that we kept, recommend priorities to staff?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. As long as there's some mention of TLC duties and priorities, I think it covers it.
And
I'm
they're
fine with that.
recommending them. And then staff has to implement as they can during the fiscal year.
Yeah, yeah, that's fine. I just didn't want to eliminate the only mention of prioritization from TLC duties.
So take out on 14, take out the new text, the scheduling off, question mark, and then instead in E3 put in the priority.
And staff's fine with that.
Yeah.
So take out scheduling of this,
yeah,
and then put prioritization in that place?
No. Don't do anything to this sentence. So just take the scheduling off, question mark out.
Okay.
Yeah.
And leave that as is, and now go to E3.
Yeah, E3 then goes to recommend priorities to staff and the city council.
Recommends priorities under.
Recommend priorities.
Well, no, I would make recommend suggestions to staff and the city council regarding proposed operations, comma, proposed projects, comma, and prioritization.
Okay.
Or do the.
And if we can do it, we can do it, and if we can't, we can't.
Yeah, make sure you get the Oxford comma. It's important.
That's right. I agree.
Okay.
You okay with that, Laura?
Yes, I'm fine there. That's a good place to put it. Thank you.
Yeah, we're trying to keep the committee's duties in one place and the staff duties in another.
Correct.
Yep, that's good.
Okay. So we're good on 14. On 15, I think we need an of between implementation and spending.
Thank you. Yes.
Implementation of spending.
Yep. Okay. I don't see anything else up for discussion. Any other points that somebody wanted to raise?
Not for me.
I think it looks great now, and like I said in the beginning, I think all of us, not just Jeff and me, but I think all 5 of us want to encourage the TLC to bring forth ideas. So I think we definitely, and I think we have some new members right now, which is great. So look forward to hearing from them.
Much more clarifying document now.
Yeah.
I think so. I think we got rid of some stuff that was confusing, and I think we simplified it, and that's a good thing.
Well, we'll find out.
Yes. So if we got that done, then the next order of business is to adopt the resolution implementing this attachment.
That's correct.
So I need a motion on the resolution regarding the membership duties and responsibilities of the Trails and Landscape Committee as amended tonight.
I would move it.
I'll second.
Okay. Motion by Juan, second by Catalano. All in favor? A roll call, please. Janet?
Okay, thank you. Roll call. Councilmember Catalano?
Aye.
Councilmember Diaz?
Yes.
Councilmember Wolf?
Yes, Mike.
Vice Mayor Juan?
Aye.
Mayor Pierce?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. That passes unanimously. Thank you all. That wasn't as painful as we thought it might be, right? And we got it done. So that's, hey, sometimes a committee works. Thank you all for your good considerations there. The next item is council items, requests and directives for future meetings. As we indicated earlier, we've all been in contact, and most of us have just received a note from our speaker earlier this evening giving us more particulars that we need to take another look at the parking issues on Mount Air and Regency and come up with some path forward. And the chief had some ideas, Mala had some ideas. I think we've got some possible suggestions that we've heard from the community, and we may be able to do something there, but I hate to wait 2 weeks for that. So if you're all okay with meeting next Tuesday and putting that on the agenda for a special meeting, I think we'd be doing the folks on both sides of the trail a favor to look at that a little more comprehensively. Everybody okay with next Tuesday?
I am.
What time are you looking at?
Probably 7.
I'm not
somebody
going anywhere.
What?
Not going anywhere.
Does
You
anybody
better not.
meet earlier than that?
Isn't that when you have a haircut scheduled?
I don't know. It's getting long.
I'm turning into Kenny Rogers.
That's okay. That's okay. So I saw.
Yeah, I guess I would. Yeah, I think that's good. I would add. I think that you said that some of the others may have some ideas. That's good because we definitely need to have some kind of guidelines on what the folks are interested in, and I think I would reiterate for those that are interested, I would recommend that they kind of sharpen their pencils a little bit and bring forward some additional information regarding scope as well as ultimate desire. I think that will be helpful.
And Julie, do you know what the next health order is planned for? Would it be next Tuesday? Would we have more information on things that might open?
It's totally random, dude. It's whenever.
Yeah, the governor didn't even show up at noon today, so who knows?
Wait a minute. Was I watching him or Judge Judy? I can't remember.
Must have been Judge Judy. So any other items besides that?
Yes, I have 2.
Yes, what is that, Jim?
The first one is, and I received this from one of our residences, that if we're going to continue, and I suspect we are for these Zoom meetings, we need to figure out a way to do closed captioning for those of our constituents out there that are hearing impaired. And I don't know how you're going to do it. I talked briefly with Connie on this, and we got to figure out a way. Because it could be mandated if they so desired.
We can look into that. I've heard Zoom does have a feature that can allow for some closed captioning, so we can look into that.
Don't know how good it is, but you know.
Right.
Anything
YouTube is pretty good. YouTube does the auto captioning, which is pretty good. So they may have similar technology there.
It very likely is. I would point out that our live stream meetings are not closed captioned, nor are obviously the ones we post online. So this would be taking an additional step that we have never done before.
Right, but I have heard, and I'd like Mala to verify it, that there could be, and I underline could be, a legal requirement to do that. Anytime the governor speaks, I mean, he has a signer, but I'm not suggesting that.
I don't want to have to pay that expense.
Right. Okay, my second one is that it appears that in the not too distant future that there'll be some further relaxation of dining requirements or facilitating dining in or out. And I received a request from one of our other constituents to consider down the line that, and it'd be, as Connie and I had discussed, possibly some sort of a special event, but basically it'd be in front of the chop house, for example, which has that patio out there. We could, and they might come to us and ask to close off Main Street and Morris, so that tables could be set up out there once the dining issue gets relaxed, and they would have to be making sure that there are spacing requirements met, that there would be reservations only, so that people could come and order in advance and then have a meal on Main Street. And this is something we have to look into, because there's some obvious other requirements such as security and making sure that everybody's maintaining their social distances to do that.
I'm sure we'll get direction from the governor at some point. And
I'm certain when he gets his haircut first.
If it pleads the crown.
Yeah. Okay. Any other items for future agendas? If not, then we are going to go into closed session for the purposes of a public employee performance evaluation per Government Code Section 54957 for the city manager. The council will leave this meeting, which will remain open, but we will leave this meeting and go into a separate closed session hosted by the city attorney. We will return to this meeting to report out when we are done with that closed session. So let's take 10 minutes to get everybody over to the city attorney's meeting. Thank you. Come back into open session, and we have no reportable action from our closed session. And with that, we are adjourned to our meeting for Tuesday the 25th, when we will deal with the parking issues. Okay.
Okay, and that's going to take place at 7 p.m., just to confirm?
Yes.
Okay, got it.
Thank you, Janet.
Good night. Good night.
Good night.